Welcome to the top of Mount Olympus, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Zeus coming at you with a deck profile for White Force Fiendsmith. The Fiendsmith engine seems to be everywhere in today's meta, and today it was no different. It got me 4-0 at my locals, playing against Kashtira, Tempa, Yubel, and Heroes. The Kashtira player was also playing the Kashtira Fiendsmith engine, and they weren't that hard to beat. I 2-0'd the Kashtira, 2-1 the Tempa, 2-0'd the Yubel deck with a Fiendsmith engine in it, of course. And then a hero player, I 2-0'd him as well. It seemed like no one else at my locals had Mulcharmies, and it's probably the reason why I went 4-0. Mulcharmy is a fantastic card, both of them. And let's get into the deck profile. I'll explain a little bit more as we go. So I run 3 Tales of the White Forest. I like to see this card. I don't really have anything else I want to say about this card. It's just a nice card to be able to dump off of Elizet or a Stella, and then the Woes as well. The Woes allows you to continue playing when you do get hand trapped like crazy, or even Mulcharmy. You can still play on your opponent's turn with the Woes, and you don't have to crazily extend from your extra deck using everything that you have inside of the deck. In my opinion, Woes is one of the better cards. I see people cut this card from lists, and I just don't agree with that. Next, I run 1 Rusia and then 2 Sylvie. I don't really want to see the Sylvie ever, but it's times that you do when you don't start off with a spell or trap, and you don't want to burn your Fiendsmith spells, or you don't want to burn your toy box spells, especially if you know your opponent is maining cards like Ghost Ogre. You definitely don't want to play into that Ghost Ogre, so Sylvie being able to search out the spell or trap early is pretty good. And so yeah, I run 2 Sylvies because of that. I run 2 Estella. I've seen lists that cut this down to 1. I've also seen lists that put this up to 3. I think 2 is perfect, especially seeing as though I run Mulcharmies inside of my list. And so I always have an Estella to start me off, or an LZ. And because of that, I only run 2. I also only run 2 LZ. Like I said before with the Estella, the Mulcharmies gets me to the LZ whenever I need it, so I don't really worry about having it. I run 1 Iris Sword Soul simply because you can search her off of the Synchro Rusia, and yeah, she's a wonderful interruption inside of a spellcaster deck, so who knew? I run 2 Fiendsmith Engraver, 1 Lurie. And the reason why I run 2 Fiendsmith Engravers and 1 Lurie is because typically I can go into the Fiendsmith engine off of the White Forest engine at times when things go wrong for me to get me into the High King Caesar. The reason why I primarily use High King Caesar is just for the 2 special summon negates. The Fiendsmith engine is only basically here for that, especially trying to play through Mulcharmies in today's meta. Just setting up a High King Caesar is typically enough when you have a decent amount of interruption yourself. And so I had mentioned that this deck runs, I'll get more into that later, but I run 2 tracks. So 2 tracks, 2 Engravers, 1 Lurie. That's a decent package in my opinion, and nothing more to say about that. 1 Toy Soldier, 1 Toy Tank, and then 2 Toy Box. I was running 2 Toy Soldiers, which the other one is inside of my side when I get to that. The reason why I cut the engine down is because I wanted to double up on how many hand traps I run, because it seems like the meta shifting to where you just want to fill your deck with as many non-engine as possible to help you beat your opponent, and the White Forest deck can go slimmingly into hand traps. So there it is, the engine for the White Forest / Fiendsmiths, and then the toy box, of course, is crazy. I think this card is ridiculous. Next we have 2 Velas, 3 Ash, 3 Droll, 2 Nib, 3 Mulcharmy Furlos, 3 Mulcharmy Perulia. And this is the reason why I run 3 of each inside of the deck. It's because I don't choose to go first with this deck ever. I like to scare people into believing that I'm playing Tempai. And when I scare people into believing I'm playing Tempai, they then try to make the best possible board they can make. And because of it, the mulch armies draw me so many cards to help me stop them. It's easily how I beat the hero player. I forced the hero player to go first, and he tried to set up the best possible board with the mulch armies. I dropped 1 Perulia and 1 Fuelos, and I ended up drawing 11 cards. I had triple imperms in my hand and a nib. So I impermed, and then I impermed a few of his plays, and then I nibbed right after he finished his entire board, and he could not stop me. Then the White Force engine completely demolished him. The same thing goes for the Tempai player. I made the Tempai player go first, and typically if you make Tempai go first, they in some scenarios they'll try and set up the Tempai Pydra and then set the Kaio, then force you to go and then play through the Kaio as if it's not hard. I mean, it's as if it was easy for them to beat you through just setting a Kaio or Heavenly Spears and telling you to go. And it wasn't hard at all. Call by the Grave, the Shifter, and that was game 1. And then game 2, I couldn't call by the Shifter, so we went into game 3. And game 3, it was they went first, set the Kaio, summoned the Heavenly Spears, and then after summoning the Heavenly Spears, set the Silhouette Trap, and then complained about why the Silhouette Trap shows up in their hand as a one of, which they couldn't go into the rabbit to then get the trap because it was already in their starting hand. So I walked right through that board with no problem. I even forced him to use the Heavenly Spears early, and he had 2 Fire Dragons on the field, and I super polyed them off of the board, which I'm getting into next. 3 imperms, self-explanatory. This card is ridiculous. Super poly. This card won me so many games. As a main deck staple, in my opinion, I don't understand how people can go into a game thinking that they only need to set up a board when the truth of the matter is you need to beat boards as well. And this card is phenomenal at doing that thing. Triple Tactics Talents, which Triple Tactics Talents help me break Centurion boards usually. And so I didn't really have to use the Triple Tactic Talents, but I mean, when I was going and I was running into Ghost Ogres and Ash Blossoms, Triple Tactic Talents helped me get to more of my engine to be able to then kill my opponent. So that was wonderful. And then the 1 call by, which I saw every single match, the call by, because the mulch armies go off. Love this card. I wish this card was at 2 at the very least. Now into the extra deck. I run Super Star Slayer Typhon Sky Crisis. I don't use this card. I don't make this card. I never make this card. I only ever send it off of a card inside of my side deck, which I'll show in a second. High King Caesar. Basically, every time I go, I'm making this card if I have to pass it back to my opponent. It's just crazy. Necrocrypt Princess, self-explanatory. Garua and Mud Dragon for the super poly targets. SP Little Knight, wonderful warrior. Selene, allowing me to get back Silvera from the graveyard multiple times during my turn, during my opponent's turn at times. And the Selene will allow the Silvera to go off every time she special summons her, because that card is just not a once per turn at all, and it just really breaks boards so good, the Silvera. Moon of the Closed Heaven, which, like I said, the White Force engine can get me into this, which then gets me into the Requiem, and then I can set up the High King Caesar in turns where I didn't draw great, or my opponent didn't do anything on the game 1 after dropping double mulch armies. I can then set myself up with a High King Caesar, activate the toy box in my turn, and then they're now defending off, trying to beat the High King Caesar through a toy box engine if I didn't have too much to go crazy with my board. So the Silhouette Rabbit, which is only in here when I side in the trap, so don't even worry about this card. I don't think this card is good anymore. Chaos Angel 2 of. The reason why I play 2 Chaos Angels is because this deck can make Chaos Angel so many times in a single turn. I can actually make Chaos Angel 3 times in a single turn with this deck, but I run 2. I left my locals, and my teammate, who was a part of Mount Olympus, needed a Chaos Angel, so I gave him my Chaos Angel, and the other one is on the way now. So now I gave him a secret rare, so my 2 ultis are on the way, so don't worry about that. But I only run 2 Chaos Angels for now. 1 Diabell, self-explanatory, 1 Racia, and then 1 Silvera. All phenomenal cards. I absolutely love the White Forest deck. I love that it burns spells and traps to extend, and I think the dodging of imperms and Velas are really what meta decks want to do in 2024. So I'm positive the reason why I went 4-0 at my locals is simply because dodging the imperms and Velas and the Moonlit Chills were phenomenal. It got me so much advantage. And then 2 is because of these birds. These birds are absolutely crazy. So yeah, now let's get into the side. Inside of my side deck, I built it just to make certain that I could clear boards only, because the White Forest can make double Chaos Angel. The Diabell can book a Book of Eclipse, an entire board multiple times in a turn through Selene, through Silvera, of course, bringing it back, or the Diabell bringing it out originally. So it's just absolutely phenomenal. We won't even talk about that. So I run 1 more Woes just in case I'm going against a deck that is Shifter Minds out of play. I run 2 Ultimate Slayers, which I used every single game, helping me break boards when every single game that I went second to break boards. Phantom of Yubel, this card killed Phantom of Yubel. Super Poly in the 2 targets on the board, they'll have Solar Rage, and then they'll have the Worm, what is his name, Varudras. Super Poly and the Rage and the Varudras allowed me to get completely past their boards. Absolutely. And then this hitting the Yubel made it so that I didn't have to worry about anything. Double thrusts, because it allows me to get to the D barrier. And then this shuts down, Centaurions and things, but I didn't have to side this package in. 1 more Tract, 1 more Engraver, which I didn't side this package in. The Veiler, 3rd Veiler out of the deck, I sided the 3rd Veiler in plenty of times, and Veiler's Veiler, so. Toy Box, and then the Toy Soldier on the side. That's only if I run into the problem of not having enough engine when I'm playing against my opponent in game 2s and 3s. So I'll side in more toy engine because of it. Secret Village, which has won me the game quite a few times. People can't just play around this card, not easily. I've summoned a Droll in attack position and then played the Secret Village, and then played Toy Box, set Toy Soldier, Toy Tank, and gave it to my opponent, and then they would literally scoop. Try to beat out the Droll and Lockbird, the toy engine would pop the monster that was summoned to try and beat it, and then they just scoop immediately because they can't get over this card. I don't understand why this card is even in the game. 1 Souls, 1 Illusion of Chaos, of course, because of the toy engine and the White Forest spells and traps. So self-explanatory, I run 1 and 1. I sided this in quite a bit against the hero player. I played it, and he tried to Ash Blossom the Souls, and I called by the Ash Blossom, and then it drew me 2 cards, then special summoned 2 monsters. So wonderful. And then an extra nib just in case. But I typically don't side in the 3rd nib because the 2 that are inside of the deck just seems to always show up. So I play what I get. Thank you for watching this profile, and see you in the next one.